In this video, I want to have a look at ordering and comparing decimals. So in a decimal, the digits that come after the decimal place indicate parts of a whole. So for example, if we've got the decimal 52.163, that 52 is our whole number, and then we've got this extra part on the end as well. So we've got 1/10, 6/100ths, and 3/1000ths. So when we're comparing decimals, we're going to look at each section separately. So first we look at the whole number out the front. If we then had two numbers that had the same whole number part, we'd look at the tenths position and see which one had the highest number there. If they're still the same there, we're going to look at the next position, at the hundredths position, and compare that number, and we can keep going until we can decide which one's bigger or smaller. So our first example asks us to arrange these four decimals in ascending order. So first we need to know that ascending means from smallest to biggest. Now all of these decimals start with 8 point. So that means they all have the same whole number part, and we're going to have to compare the decimal part. Now sometimes it makes it a little bit easier if you write them all so they have the same number of decimal places. So this one has 2, and these two numbers on the end have 2 decimal places as well, but this one only has 1. So I'm going to add another 0 on there so that it's a little bit easier to compare. Okay, so because they all have that same whole number, we're going to look at the first digit after the decimal place and see which number has the biggest one. So in here we've got a 0, a 4, another 4, and a 5. So because we've got a 5 here, that means that's going to be our biggest number, and the 0 here means that this one's going to be our smallest number. But we're going to have to decide between these two. So we can write these ones down. We've got 8.04 as our smallest number, and we've got 8.54 as our largest number because it had the smallest number in that first position after the decimal and the largest number in the first position after the decimal. Now for the middle ones, they both had that 4 there, so then we have to look at the next digit along. So in this one, our next digit is a 0, and in this one, our next digit is a 5. So that means that our 8.4 is going to be smaller than our 8.45. So this question actually comes out in exactly the same order, so they were already written in ascending order. Our next question asks us to arrange the numbers in descending order. So descending means biggest to smallest this time. So again, we're going to start having a look at the whole number part of these decimals. So we've got a 0, a 1, a 0, and a 0. So that means that this 1.6, that's going to be our biggest number, so the first number in our list. So we can cross that one off, we've got it written down. Then for all these ones that started with 0, we're going to have a look at the first number after the decimal point. So in this one we've got a 0, here we've got a 3, and here we've got a 9. So the biggest one out of those would be this 0.92. And then the next one would be our 0.3, and then our 0.05. So that's in descending order this time. So having a look systematically at each number to compare them, and moving on to the next decimal place if we need to compare more accurately.